Welcome back to the O Hockey Show, and I am dressed up all nice and dapperly because I'm taking this official matter into my own hands, and I am going to be talking about the NHL.com's current rankings for the Norris Trophy. They've been doing this trophy tracker all season, and now we're at the halfway point of the year. I decided to take a look at them and see if they're right or incorrect. I've already talked about the Vezina Trophy. If you haven't watched that video, I usually don't say this, but I actually was very pleased with that one. So go take a watch at that one. I was very happy with myself with that one. Let's see how this one goes. So let's just jump into it here with Erik Karlsson. Now, Erik Karlsson, I've given him the check mark and the crown because they are absolutely correct. They voted him at number one, and I don't think you could say anything else. He's got the double factor when it comes to trophy winnings. He's leading the defenseman in points, not just points. He doesn't just lead in points. He also leads in goals and assists in both categories. Unequivocally the best offensively generating defenseman. And not only that, he's on a terrible team in the San Jose Sharks as well. Aren't they like 27th in the league or something like that right now? Absolutely terrible. The people below him on this list, all of them are at least contending for a playoff spot or close to it. They're all close to it at least. The Sharks, the only team on this list that are not contending for a playoff spot really, and that's it. He's got all the combinations that you'd want to vote for a guy for a trophy. So Erik Karlsson, I think he definitely deserves the award at this point. He's the first defenseman since like 2001 or so to actually on pace to get to a 100-point season. And the way he's playing, and he's already done this well with the team so far, I don't think he could do anything. I think he's going to do it. And especially if he even could get possibly traded to another team that's probably more offensive and playoff ready, he's going to even get more solidified to get that. So, Erik Karlsson, top of the list. Good job, NHL.com. He's definitely my current Norris Trophy pick. But moving on to a guy who has the same name as a guy named Norris, Josh Morrissey. Now, Josh Morrissey, he's number 2 rated by them, and I think that's okay. I definitely think he's top 3 ready. Between him, I know there's the whole thing about the MVP for defensemen is just about the one who gets the most points in the year. I do think that is stupid. I think you should take that into effect along with how he plays actually defensively. That's why I think Victor Hedman's unequivocally the best defenseman in the NHL. This year, though, he's not on the list at all. He's not even close in points-wise, so he doesn't get there. So, but for Josh Morrissey, I think he might have a stake in there. I think Morrissey's probably a little bit more defensive capable than Erik Karlsson. But Karlsson, I mean, he's no slouch defense. I mean, in pass, sure. But this year, I'd say he's stepped back up a bit. I mean, obviously. So Josh Morrissey, I definitely think he's top 3 with his points and his defensive play. But there's a guy a little bit later down the list that he's currently tied with in points, I think, unless one's gotten more points since when I wrote this, and which is Rasmus Dahlin. And we'll talk about him in a second. But I think Josh Morrissey's definitely top 3, and I'll talk about him again in a second. But I have to first talk about Cale Makar. Now, listen, I love Cale Makar. I do think he's the best defenseman in the world skill-wise. I personally would, I mean, if you offered me, if I was making my own team, if I take Hedman, or I guess really I would put Hedman to Makar, who would I rather have on my team? And Cale Makar, I think, is definitely the most skilled defenseman in the world, and I personally think probably ever. But he's incredible, right? Cale Makar is incredible. But for this season, I don't know why they have him at number 3 right now in the rankings, other than because he has his name value. Other than that, I don't understand this at all. Cale Makar is 5th in points for defensemen, and he's got like 11 goals, which is great. That's like tied. Karlsson is 13, so he's only 2 goals behind the leader in defensemen of goals. And for assists, he's like, I don't even remember. But I'll be honest, I don't remember. But there's other defensemen that have better points, and he's on the Colorado Avalanche of all things. He's not even defensive. If you put a guy like Hampus Lindholm for his defensive play, sure. Roman Josi, sure. Drew Doughty, sure. Heiskanen, sure. But Cale Makar isn't doing his number one thing, which is being the best offensive defenseman in the world. And he's never been he's great defensively because he's just the superstar Makar. But that's not what he's known for. So he's not even. This is just stupid to me. I think Cale Makar definitely deserves to be on the top 10 list. And for definitely, if you're saying the best defenseman ever in the NHL right now, I would say he's maybe in the top 10 of the best defensemen ever in the NHL. Actually, I would definitely say he is. But this season, which is what we're going off of, because if we were going off of their careers, Josh Morrissey isn't on this list at all. So, why is Cale Makar at number 3? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'd push him way down on this list, and I don't care. Put him in number 5 or something where he is in points. Why not? But that is just ridiculous to me. I hate that he's on the list at number 3. It rubs shame in everyone below him's face. Because even in the year where Cale Makar didn't he win the Calder or something, or something like that? Adam Fox has always been the pushed over little child of the two of them, even though Fox has more points than him by 4 points right now in the NHL, maybe even more at this point, I'll be honest. And the year that they were both rookies, Fox had more points. Fox has shown him, but Makar keeps getting the name advantage because, for one, I think it's because he's Canadian, and 2, because he's on the Avalanche and not the Rangers, or whatever. Whatever I'm trying to say. So ridiculous, Makar. Throw him down the list, even though he is probably the best defenseman on this entire board, skill-wise. But this season, there's other better names. Moving on to Rasmus Dahlin. Now, Dahlin, I think, deserves to be top 3 as well. Now, between the two of Dahlin and Morrissey, I feel like you can just kind of take your pick which one you'd rather have. For me, my opinion, which is what this channel is all about, I personally would put Rasmus Dahlin at number 2. I think he's just been overall great since the beginning of the season till now. He hasn't slowed down. Morrissey kind of had to catch on. And the Buffalo Sabres, just because of how they're exciting this season right now, I would just put him at number 2. So Dahlin, put him at number 2, but between the two of them, I would say they're interchangeable. Moving on to the weird one, which is Hampus Lindholm. Now, Lindholm is playing excellent, right? Excellent. But he doesn't really have... He was playing excellent at the beginning of the season for the Bruins when McAvoy and Grishlik were both injured. He really carried that defense. But now that those guys are back, more attention has been pushed onto those guys. And I like Hampus Lindholm. Always thought I cheer for the Sharks. I've always known on the Ducks he was great, and I knew when he got moved he was going to be even more amazing. And obviously he is. But he's only got 28 points, which is not anywhere near where this board should be. And on the Boston Bruins, he's playing absolutely incredible, right? But he just doesn't have that wow factor. I don't really see why he's on this list. I just don't. I don't understand why. It's just strange to me. So, Lindholm, I think it's cool to give him a nod, but at number... Oh, wait, I completely skipped over Adam Fox. But at number 6. At number 6 on the board, it's just strange to me. Like, I would put him, like, maybe number 8, but I don't know. But going back in time to Adam Fox, I think he deserves to be number 4. Makar, sure, put him at number 5. Adam Fox, incredible defenseman, always gets overshown, and I don't care. Put him anywhere as long as it's above Cale Makar. Roman Josi now. Roman Josi led the NHL last season in points. No one knows that, though. And he's actually led the NHL's defenseman in points the last 2 years or something like that. Or at least he's been up there. And he's one of the most underrated defensemen. I know people know he's amazing. But, dear Lord, Roman Josi is a freak. Like, he is so good. But no one recognizes him because the talk is always about guys like Hedman or Makar, which they should be. But he always is like the overlooked guy. He's like the Kyle Connor. Like, Kyle Connor is always on the top scorers list, top goal scorers, but no one ever talks about him. That's Roman Josi. He's always, like, in the top 3 of defensemen in points, but no one talks about him, and I don't understand why. So, kind of strange to me. But this season, I think where he's at number 7 is fine. I don't see a reason to put him anywhere higher up on the list. Moving on to Miro Heiskanen. Now, I kind of get why he's on this board. Heiskanen, I've always said, I think could be a Norris-level defenseman. He's really not that yet. I don't know at this point if he ever will be. I hope he is, because I do like the Stars. I do like Heiskanen. But I just don't see him ever. He just doesn't get the points production to really bring him up there. Defensively, he's great. His two-way game is great. But just the points category doesn't really hit there for me. And I think throwing him on this list because of how good the Stars are doing and he's their number one defenseman, I think is fine. It's kind of the same reason why Hampus Lindholm's on this list. So, at number 9, I think is fine. And then we've got Drew Doughty. He only got 1 point, so I really shouldn't care that much that he's on this list. But Drew Doughty at number 10 is just a dumb pick to me. There's so many other defensemen and other stories to talk about other than a guy like Drew Doughty. Doughty's great, but why not a guy like Hamilton, you know? Why not Dougie Hamilton? Why not a guy like Brandon Montour, who's getting crazy points for Florida this year? I mean, it's just strange that you put a guy like Drew Doughty on the board when, like, there's other stories that you could, like, Dougie Hamilton and the Devils. I mean, that writes itself, you know? And if you're going to go with a guy like Drew Doughty, why not instead go with a guy like, I don't even know. It's just a strange pick. Brent Burns. Then you kind of got the Sharks, both their defensemen there, but now he's on the Hurricanes. It's just a strange one to me. Drew Doughty's great, but it's just, would you really put him as the number 10th MVP defenseman this year? It's just weird. So that is all I have to say, and I think they are spot on with Erik Karlsson at number 1. Makar, throw him down the list. He's overall he's the most skilled defenseman in the NHL, but this season, in a vacuum, he is not the number 3 defenseman in the league. But that is all I have to say. So, if you like this video, please pick up your free subscription by hitting that red subscribe button. If you like this video, leave a like, not a dislike, but go down to the comment section below and tell me how stupid I am. Just tell me, how stupid am I? Tell me how stupid I am that Erik Karlsson's obviously not the Norris. Cale Makar's the freaking best. Put him at the top. Tell me all about it, cousin. So, that is all I have to say. And leave that all down below. And until next time, I have been your officially dressed host, Owen. Too sweet. And ta-ta for now.